I plan to start this video, like every writer, at their idea stage, with a blank page. This summer, I plan to walk through the writing process from idea to completion. In this video, let's talk about turning ideas into stories. Everyone can come up with an idea. Ideas and inspiration can happen to anyone. That's why the Copyright Office provides copyright on expressions, not ideas or facts. A writer is a story seeker. A writer seeks ideas with an intentionality and purpose to find a story they can express. An idea is kind of like luck. We have good things in our life due to some kind of luck, but we also put ourselves in a place where luck can happen. The same principle applies for ideas. A writer should put themselves in places where ideas and inspirations can happen. A writer will choose an experience different from their normal life to unseat oneself from present circumstances. That might mean traveling or visiting a park. If we cannot come up with a worthwhile idea in our house or apartment, then we should get out of the house or apartment. A writer will engage with life with more attention to detail and with speculative or hypothetical questions. This may mean visiting a cafe or a bus station and asking questions about who would come here, what they're doing, where are they going, and what are their goals. We may ask what-if questions like, what if my bus is late, or what if my latte was stolen? This is how writers come up with ideas, by seeking the stories that live around them. It's hard to know when an idea is worth our time, however. Our next move with an idea is to discern how to express the idea. Let me share a process often called scratch work. As a writer, if I have an idea, I use an online or print journal and try to flesh out how the idea becomes a narrative driven by characters. As an example, let's say we see a father playing catch with a son at the park. We can imagine their happy life together. We can also imagine a darker life. Using what-if questions, we can ask, what if this son becomes a major baseball player? Or, if we've read too many true crime or mystery books, we could ask, what if a father murders their son? You may be saying, geez, that's dark. But if we want to write crime or dark stories, the kind of stories that allow us a catharsis from darker, traumatic thoughts, then maybe that's the idea that sets us onward. Now what? First, we can muse about why an idea draws us in. How do we connect with the idea based on what's happened in our lives? How does an idea speak to us now? If an idea speaks to me, then it can speak to others. Even a dark idea can compel us to imagine the dark character of people. We may never imagine someone doing such heinous actions like murder, but we may want to unravel how possible it is because we feel everyone doesn't really understand their worst instincts. Then we may start to imagine the world that emerges from this idea. By world, I do not necessarily mean a fantastical world. All spaces in fiction are imaginary. By world, I mean the setting or space in which our idea organically fits. If we come up with an idea of a father murdering their son, we have to imagine what environment would allow this to work or happen. It would require imagining if a murder is easier to conceal in a rural place or an urban place. Past or present. Is a rural place easier because it has fewer resources or more challenging because everyone knows about the relationship between murderer and victim and can guess who did it? It's easy to imagine tropes or circumstances that we've read before. It's important to challenge ourselves to rethink what's ordinary and typical. So with this idea, we've considered why it speaks or compels us and where it could happen. Now let's imagine who drives the story. In the world of this idea, who lives in this world? And more importantly, who drives the story forward? If a father murders his son, we need to ask ourselves, who is the father, then the son? And what is their relationship like with the rest of the world and the people who inhabit that world? It's easy to imagine seedy characters, but we need to ask why someone would do this horrible act and how it could be concealed. Why would a father murder his son? That's a difficult question. It requires empathy with a negative action. How could someone do something like that? When we read father murders his son, we imagine a terrible father. Part of this process is to ask, what did the father do right? What if the son was wrong? What if the son committed a terrible, awful crime? What is the father's point of view? How could someone come to the point where they think, I need to murder my son? These questions are how a writer can dive into imagining causality. The father murders the son. Before. What caused the father to resort to murder? After. From this, we begin to chart a plot's course. By plot, I mean we start to imagine the story's circumstances and events. A plot usually involves a character facing a disruption to normal, then setting forth on a goal to solve the disruption by undoing it or creating a new normal. A plot usually involves a character facing a disruption to their normal life, then setting forth on a goal to resolve the disruption by undoing it or creating a new normal life. Characters do not have to save the world literally, but they are trying, rightly or wrongly, to save their world. For our idea, a father murders a son. We can have the murder be the disruption. Now a father's life has changed, and they have to conceal and withstand the scrutiny of an investigation. We can also have it be the climax. Everything leads to the murder. In that case, a disruption could be the father uncovering a heinous crime or facing problems only a murderer, in their view, could solve. By completing this scratch work, we start to see the story, the expression, emerge. We had a simple one-line idea. From this idea, our scratch work has helped us flesh out pieces of the story, characters, plot elements, the world that we can serve our story with.